All right, let's get right into it. What happens when a creator who built a huge following by listening to his mentor finally gets to sit down and talk with that very same person? We're about to pull apart a really fascinating conversation between the creator, Kul Mitra, and the one and only Sandeep Maheshwari to see if we can find a real blueprint for creative and financial success.
And wow, it all kicks off with this incredibly powerful moment. Kul Mitra looks at his mentor and says, "Because of you, someone listened to their inner voice and reached this far." You know, this is so much more than just a thank you. It's the whole theme of the story. That idea of the inner voice, that's the key that unlocked everything for him, and it really sets the stage for everything we're about to cover.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this journey, we've got to rewind. Let's go all the way back to the very beginning to find that first spark, the exact moment of inspiration that started this whole thing.
So what is this inner voice he keeps talking about? He calls it the Andar ki Awaaz. And for him, this wasn't some fuzzy, vague idea. It was a lightning bolt. A super clear 5-second moment of aha after he gave a speech in school. A speech that was directly inspired by one of Sandeep's sessions. And right then, he just knew. He knew he could connect with people.
And when you look at this timeline, it makes one thing crystal clear. This was not an overnight success story. Far from it. I mean, think about it. He's already making his own money from blogging back in 10th grade. Then that inner voice moment hits, and bam, he pivots. By 17, he's on YouTube, and by 22, he's a best-selling author. Every step was a building block for the next one. Okay, so we've got the inspiration. Now for the big question. How do you actually make a living from it? Let's get into the business side of things, the nuts and bolts of turning that passion into a paycheck, as explained by Sandeep Maheshwari. Okay, get ready for this number. At his peak, Kul Mitra brought in 40 lakh rupees. That's 4 million rupees. And get this, he did it in just 2 months. Insane, right? You'd think, okay, he's found the magic formula. He's set for life. But that's not what happened. So that brings up the million-dollar question, or I guess the 4 million rupee question in this case. If it was going so well, why did the money just stop? It's a scary thought, and it's something a ton of creators face, but almost nobody talks about.
Well, the answer is all about something called the creator's sales funnel. Think of it like a real funnel, right? At the very wide top, you pour in a massive audience with your free content, 2 million subscribers in his case. Then a smaller part of that audience flows down and buys your product. That's your big payday. But here's the catch. Eventually you hit a saturation point. All your diehard fans, the ones who are going to buy, have bought. And suddenly the flow slows to a trickle. It's a totally natural cycle, but it can be a real shock if you're not ready for it.
So faced with this slowdown, what does he do? He has this amazing realization. He says, I need to sharpen the axe of my knowledge. I just love that phrase. He understood that the solution wasn't to push sales even harder. No, the smart move was to step back, learn more, and get better. Essentially, to go back to giving away incredible value for free, which makes that funnel at the top wider again. Super, super smart.
All right, business model, check. Now let's talk about the actual art of it, the content itself. In a world where everyone's attention span is like 5 seconds long, how do you make stuff that people actually want to watch?
This right here, this says it all. Check out these numbers. He starts with a 16-minute raw video, and by the time he's done, it's only 8 minutes long. He cuts it in half. And we're not just talking about trimming the fat here. We're talking about being absolutely ruthless. You have to be willing to kill your darlings, as they say. Even a line you really love has to go if it slows things down.
And this isn't just a quick edit. I mean, look at this workflow. We're talking 4 to 5 days for one single video. You're writing, rewriting, recording it perfectly, then editing, then trimming some more. And the key ingredient in all of this, it's courage. Seriously, the guts to delete something you spent hours on because it's just not quite right for the final cut. That's the grind it takes to stand out today.
Okay, so we've seen the strategy and the craft, but what about the mindset? Let's zoom out a bit. What's the perspective you need to have not just to be successful, but to actually be happy and fulfilled doing this for the long haul?
And this leads Kul Mitra to ask his mentor just a brilliant question, one that really gets to the core of what it means to be an expert. He basically asks, how do you do it? When you speak, is it all stuff you've prepared, or is it just coming to you in the moment?
Sandeep's answer here is so insightful. He says that when he started, it was about a 50-50 mix. Half was book smarts, knowledge he'd studied. The other half was life experience. But now, it's completely flipped. It's like 1% knowledge and 99% pure, lived experience. He's not just repeating information anymore. He's speaking from his core.
So you might be asking, okay, how do I get that 99% experience? What's the secret? Well, according to Sandeep, the engine that powers all of it is actually really simple, but it's so powerful. It's this: you have to question everything, all the time. And right alongside that constant questioning comes this gem of advice. Take yourself lightly, as lightly as possible. He points to that famous picture of Albert Einstein sticking his tongue out, and it's the perfect example, right? The smartest people in the room don't have to act all serious. They can be playful because they're confident in what they know.
Honestly, this is a total superpower. Sandeep says real presence of mind isn't about always having the perfect thing to say. It's about what happens when you tell a joke. And crickets. It's just bombs. Can you laugh at yourself right there in that awkward moment? If you can do that, you can turn a failure into a moment of humility and connection. That's true self-awareness.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Full circle. From that first spark, to the business funnel, to the ruthless editing, and finally to this humble mindset. Every single piece of this puzzle started with one thing: listening to that inner voice. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. How are you listening to yours?